Hi guys, so welcome to yet another episode of Paddle Sweep. We are doing IPL team previews, and today we would be covering the mighty Royals from Rajasthan. So it's a special pod. My co-host resides from Rajasthan, and heads up, we'll definitely be seeing a very biased prediction today. So
We will.
last season they finished second. Both purple and orange cap were from RR. They were really close to going all the way. So they haven't won in 15 years, Shalin. Like they haven't won in 15 years, and but to be honest, I do see that there's a different vibe with them since last season. So we do have a
Yes.
we do have a smiling Shalin over here who's hoping to relive 2008 this season around. So how's the feeling like with RR this season?
I think the feeling among Rajasthan fans, including myself, is really optimistic this season. Um, we have a pretty good squad. Like you mentioned, orange cap and purple cap in the same season means your team did pretty well, and Rajasthan did reach the final. So, in a way, I am very excited because majority of the squad has remained the same. There are a couple of additions which do counter the problems that we faced last season, particularly that of an all-rounder. And with the impact player coming in, I think Rajasthan will become even stronger this year. Uh,
Hmm.
just a heads up to non-Rajasthan viewers. This is a Rajasthan Royals hype video, make no mistake. And I am pretty sure Rajasthan Royals is going to be the team that everyone fears. You have sides like Mumbai, Royal Challengers, and Chennai with Dhoni, Kohli, and Rohit that everyone talks about. Even for a side like Royal Challengers, which has not even won one single trophy till now, it has got such a big fan base. So Rajasthan, I would say, in that regard, has been left behind because it didn't start off well. Apart from that one final, the last season was actually the only the second time they've reached the final, and only the fourth or the fifth time they even reached the playoffs. So this is a team that deserves some praise for what they did last season. So I'm
We,
really
we might
excited for
we
how they
might think
perform.
we might think of last season as a fluke as well. So I do think like if
Well,
they
yeah,
repeat their heroics this time around,
the
we can
doubters
call them
will
a
say
forward
that,
list.
but let me tell you this: that was not a fluke, and this will be proven this season. And you'll be. I'm going to make some really bold predictions in this episode because Rajasthan Royals, for me, has now become the team that I can support as a Rajasthani. It has somehow gained that respect from the Rajasthan fans that okay, this is a team, this is a formidable team now. This is not a number seven, number eight finisher now. Okay, so should we dive into the squad now?
Yes, I think we should straight look into the squads. How does the
Yeah.
squad look like? What have been the additions? How do you see a playing 11 out of
So
this match?
जैसा मैंने कहा था कि squad is almost the same as last season, just with some notable additions. So you have opening is already sorted. They struggled a little with their opening last season, but Yashasvi Jaiswal has really come into his own in the last 1 year. He has scored a double hundred and a hundred in the same game in a recently concluded, I think, Madhya Pradesh versus rest of India, some Irani Trophy final. So Yashasvi Jaiswal is someone to watch out for this season. I'm really excited for this youngster. He's 20 or so, 20, 21, I don't know, but he has all the shots in the book. Technically very good powerlifting game, scores a lot of runs on the leg side. I think he's an improved version of Ishan Kishan in my opinion, and that's a big statement to make because Ishan Kishan got a 200 very recently in an ODI. So Yashasvi Jaiswal is someone oppositions will have to watch out for. He has a very strong attacking game, and couple that with someone like Joss Butler. So if Yashasvi Jaiswal is in a good form, these two will destroy any bowling lineup in the world right now. I'm not talking about IPL. Yashasvi Jaiswal is definitely someone India will look for after this season if his season goes lives up to the hype that I'm making him. But he's a tremendous player. Both left right combination is also ensured. So these two can destroy any bowling lineup. Next, you have Sanju Samson. So Sanju, or you could play him at four as well. But Sanju Samson at number three or four is again the kind of player. If he gets going, he can hit your good balls for sixes. That's the difference between someone like someone who can rotate the strike and get those one-off boundaries or hit the bad balls out of the park. But Sanju is someone who will hit any bowler anywhere in the world on any, whether it's a good ball, it's a bad ball. Sure, he gets out in 30s and 40s, but that's intent. You have to take that into account when you are looking to score quick. You will get out a few times. That's not an issue. And बहुत
I'm
सालों से
really
I think
looking
Sanju Samson, yeah,
I'm really looking forward to see Samson this season. I think he's one of the most extravagant and fearless hitters I've seen play for India.
yeah,
Very very Sehwag vibes I get from that player. So also like with the spot at
yeah.
5-6 available for Team India, right? With Shreyas Iyer getting injured, Rishabh Pant being out for a while, I do see Samson playing like really well this season, and hopefully I do want like him to play at that position for Team India in the World Cup as
Sanju
well.
Samson has played so little for India, but he has a dedicated fan clubs. People, as soon as one player underperforms an Indian team, people Sanju Samson starts trending on Twitter. Everyone wants Sanju Samson to be in the team. Rohit has acknowledged it. Everyone has acknowledged that he is a powerhouse of talent. So, but it has to be said that he has not made the best use of the opportunities that he has got in the Indian team. So that's another issue. But I think this is the season where Sanju Samson will finally evolve from a 400 run season to say a 600 plus run season. He obviously wins you 2 3 games every season and contributes in 3 4 others, but this is a season where I'm hoping that he will win. Instead of those 30 40s, he'll consistently score 60s and 70s and play from the fifth to say a 15th over to drive the team, because Sanju Samson has that quality that he can be an aggressive anchor. You don't see that term being used for a lot of players. An anchor बोलते ही you have players like Kohli that come into your mind जिनका पता है कि they'll play with 120 125 strike rates and then they'll accelerate and move to 150 170. I'm not against that form of play, but Sanju Samson is an aggressive anchor. Okay, so now moving on from Sanju Tendulkar. That's what he should be called, and he will be very soon. Okay, so Devdutt Padikkal is again a very reliable batsman. He can double up as an opener. He has had one good season, I think, a year back in IPL. He's a reliable batsman. He can solidify the batting as well as score some quick runs if needed. So you need someone like that when you have Jaiswal and even Butler for that matter. You don't want Butler to be the anchor in this side. I want Butler to play to score 50 of 25 or 30 balls and get out, and not. I don't want him to play 70 or 53 balls this season
But that did
because
come off well last time around, right? I think Butler had a very
it
good.
did, but I would say Butler got lucky last season in a lot of instances. He had the most number of dropped catches as well. So, but when you have someone like Butler who can destroy everything that comes his way, you don't want him to be the anchor. I think it's time Sanju Samson takes that role. Sanju Samson, I would can score 70 of 45 or 50 balls, and that's okay. He doesn't need to score 50 or 20 deliveries. He needs to prove his prowess as a responsible batsman
With the player
while
Sanju Samson is,
scoring
I
at.
don't see him scoring 70 or 45. If he is playing 45 balls, I see him scoring 100.
See, that's the thing. He can do that, but he can stabilize the innings as well. I guess we'll leave that to the management who they assign as anchor. But moving on. So you have Jaiswal, Butler, Sanju, and Padikkal, strong top four. Number five, you have Shimran Hetmeyer, who is again a destroyer. Last season, he won Rajasthan a lot of matches because Rajasthan only had six batsmen. You had Ashwin at number seven, who will be offended by this statement. But it was primarily a 6-5 division. So you have Hetmeyer at number five, who again deserves a lot of praise for how he plays his cricket. He scores quick runs, and he has a solid enough head to make sure when to score and when to rotate strikes. Now, number 6 7 is where it gets interesting for Rajasthan. You have Riyan Parag, who did not perform at all last season. He did score a 50 or so a year back, but he has had a tremendous season with Assam this year. He scored a lot of runs for Assam this season. I don't think he is bowling anymore, so he is a pure batsman, maybe a couple of overs as and when required. But that's the benefit of the impact player this season. He could easily be replaced by a bowler. But so you have Riyan Parag, who I am not sure what to expect, so I'm not going to go into detail for him much. But we'll move on to the player that I'm most excited about this season, Jason Holder, and a very good all-rounder. He can bowl, he can bat, and he's so tall that you can put him on the boundary and he'll catch those 80-meter sixes as well. He is 6'5". So a flat six going at that height would end up going 10 meters over the ropes, but he can catch that. So I think as a fielder, as a bowler, as a batsman, he is someone you can watch out for in Rajasthan this season. Uh, Again, Jason Holder hasn't exactly out performed in a way that deserves talking about in the past couple of years. He is a very sometimes his batting comes off, sometimes his bowling comes off, sometimes neither come off. So it is a, but again, he is someone who has done enough in the international circuit for us to put our bet on him. He can easily score the finish games for Rajasthan, bowl 2 to 3 overs as and when required by the captain. So he's definitely someone that Rajasthan needed, and I would have to really appreciate the Rajasthan uh, Royals performance in auction that they ended up getting Jason Holder. So you have Ryan at 6 and Holder at 7. Now in walks R Ashwin at number 8. He scored 191 runs this season. He sees himself as an off spinner and a lower order batsman. What I'm going to make a bold prediction and say he's going to score 250 plus runs this IPL,
But
and
then
it will
last
include a lot of
season,
fours and sixes.
we
Yeah.
had seen a lot of instances where Ashwin was batting at 3 or maybe 4. So
Yeah.
do you see that continuing this time around?
Uh, Not at 3. So I'll tell you, last season what happened was Rajasthan had only 6 batsmen. So if you have a couple of early wickets falling, you don't want someone like a Hetmeyer or Riyan Parag to walk in as early as a seventh or eighth over. So that's when Ashwin came in handy. He he batted from 7th to 12th, 14th over and then just went out and played his shots. If you have Hetmeyer or Riyan Parag coming in the 14th, 15th over, you can kind of expect them to play their natural game. So Ashwin acted as a stabilizer in that batting lineup. But with the addition of Jason Holder, I don't know if that will be the case. And I'm kind of hoping that Ashwin would play, that lower order anchor role this season. When you have 3 wickets fallen or 4 wickets fallen, he could commit at number 6 and then bat with the lower order while stabilizing the innings, while letting someone like Hetmeyer or Parag to go out. And when they get out, Ashwin can actually hit a few big shots as well because he's been practicing a lot. He posts a lot on Instagram these days. So I would really think he can, if there is a term like that, lower order anchor, he can play that role. If understand what I mean by that term. So yeah, Ashwin at number 8 is really handy. Trent Bolt at 9, Chahal at 10, and then Kuldeep Sain at 11. So bowling looks pretty fantastic. Kuldeep Sain did play a match for India as well. He bowls pretty fast. He's 140 plus most of the time. He can bowl those Yorkers. He has a sharp, sharp bowling bowler, I would say. So Kuldeep Sain, Jason Holder, Trent Bolt. Who's our other bowler? Let's look at the squad again. You have Trent Bolt, Kuldeep Sain, Jason Holder, R. Ashwin, and Yuzvendra Chahal. Those are your 5 bowlers. You don't get much bowling in the top 6. That's the issue again with Rajasthan this season. But guess what? With the impact player coming in, they can easily get someone like Navdeep Saini to bowl a few overs. They have KC Karyappa as well. They have KM Asif, who is again a very good, very fast bowler. So they have options for if Kuldeep Singh doesn't perform well, and this is a very good lineup of Indian bowlers that have not yet received the kind of limelight that they probably deserve. KM Asif has been talked about. He has played for CSK as well a few matches. Even KC Karyappa is a very strong bowler. So they do have those options. Now I'm going to talk about a couple of overseas options that might not find their place in the 11. A lot of players would say Joe Root was a very rash buy because they nobody sees Joe Root come playing into the 11. But I definitely do see a place for him. Let's say they go with uh, let's say their top four are performing well, but it's a lot of IPL games sometimes go end up being very low scoring. So Joe Root comes in very handy when on pitches like Chennai or other spinning pitches. You can easily open with three overseas players, remove someone like Jason Holder and just bring in an Indian bowler in his place and play Joe Root instead, who can stabilize the innings, help them chase. I think this is exactly what Gujarat Titans were looking to do with Kane Williamson, but unfortunately, Williamson is out of the tournament in the first game itself because of the knee injury. So yeah, that's a news as well. But for all those people who believe that Joe Root would not play a game, I definitely see him playing at least a few games in this season, and he could really be someone that drives. And Joe Root, you have to really look at it. He has started playing Test cricket like T20 these days. He reverse sweeps these days.
That I feel is a different thing. I don't see actually Devdutt Padikkal, Jaiswal, and Joe Root playing in the same 11. I do feel that, like, let's say if your top order is not performing well, and then Joe Root might step in, but I think
Yeah,
playing all three would be a bit extra, as to all three are very similar players, 130, 140 strike rate, and I also disagree with the Jaiswal and Ishan Kishan comment. I think Ishan Kishan is an out and out hitter. He can clear the boundary at will, and Jaiswal might not be at that level till now, at least till now. So, uh, to be
well, I
honest, I
guess
don't
we'll
see
have
Joe
to.
Root playing a lot of
Yeah,
games.
I don't see him playing a lot of games, but I definitely see him playing 3 to 4 games. And it actually depends on how other players are playing. He'll definitely be not be part of the initial 11, but if required, he can step in and he can become that stabilizer. And I don't agree with that assessment of Jaiswal. So the problem with Jaiswal is he scores boundaries in a bunch and then he kind of drifts off and gets beaten a lot and then he'll score a few boundaries again. So that is because that's the reason his strike rate isn't exactly at 160, 170, but he is a hitter. Pull, he can score a lot of runs, especially in the power play. And with the way he has played in the domestic season, I think he's definitely someone who can prove the likes of you wrong this season.
Well, what do you think?
But
What do you
let's
think
hope for
would
the
be
best.
a reasonable prediction this time around for RR?
I would say definitely qualifying for playoffs. They have a strong team, good enough for that. If they don't, it will mostly be because the team didn't perform or a lot of key players. Like if a Sanju or a Butler are not in form, Rajasthan Royals drops down to a very low potential. I mean, they are heavily dependent on these heavyweights.
You mean
Even in
RCB
bowling, you
level?
have yeah, exactly. They have become the side of match winners, but currently even their domestic players are looking good. So if the match winners or the big names don't come off, then it becomes a problem because they have no batting replacement. You have Donovan Ferreira who can play instead of Josh Butler if he gets injured, but the quality is just not the same. And two good all-rounders in Abdul and Akash Vashish, who have done well in domestic season this year, bat lower middle order batsmen, handy bowlers. So maybe they can have a look at them if Jason Holder doesn't come off and play someone like an Adam Zampa, who is a really good bowler, but again, I don't think he'll find a place in this 11. So yeah, my final prediction for this Rajasthan team is they can do really well. They can book a playoff berth if things go their way. And that is the big if for them this season because they've lost Prasidh Krishna, who could have been a match winner for them.
Yeah.
So there are a few issues with this side, but there are enough match winners to see them do really well.
So
That's
there
my
we have it,
fair
guys.
assessment.
That's our in-house, very biased prediction for RR. Although I do not disagree to a very large extent. I see them reaching the playoffs as well. So yeah, that's it in this episode. Thanks for watching, guys. See you on the other end.
थोड़ा ज्यादा हो गया क्या? बहुत ज्यादा हो गया आई थिंक। लेंथ तो पता नहीं कितनी ही हो गई होगी।